morning. Good morning. Welcome to Starting the Day the Right Way 5-minute devotional for July 15th, 2020. How's everyone doing this morning? All right, let's jump right into it. And today's verses come from Matthew 14, 13 through 21, a very familiar portion of Scripture. All right, so it's when Jesus fed the 5,000. And it says from verse 13, as soon as Jesus heard the news, he left in a boat to a remote area to be alone. But the crowds heard where he was headed and followed on foot from many towns. Jesus saw the huge crowd as he stepped from the boat, and he had compassion on them, and he healed their sick. That evening, the disciples came to him and said, this is a remote place, and it's getting late. Send the crowds away so they can go to the villages and buy food for themselves. Verse 16 says, but Jesus said, that isn't necessary. You feed them. Now, if you think the Bible is boring, you are missing the point. Look at what Jesus said. But Jesus said, this isn't necessary. You feed them. There was no food. The disciples weren't carrying anything. They couldn't go to the next food store or anything to get a quick bite. There was nothing for miles and miles. Verse 17, but we have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. That's it for the entire crowd. 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Bring them here, he said. And then he told the people to sit down on the grass. Jesus took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, looked up to heaven, and blessed them. Then breaking the loaves into pieces, he gave the bread to the disciples, who distributed it to the people. They all ate as much as they wanted, and afterward, the disciples picked up 12 baskets of leftovers. About 5,000 men were fed that day, in addition to all the women and the children. All right, so what's been happening around the Cagna household? So during this school closure, now it's summertime, so we've been giving Christian more and more responsibilities around the house because we're Team Cagna, right? Everybody contributes. So for about 2 years, we've gotten him to, clean his room, put his clothes where they need to be, clean the toys up. So during this time of school closure and stuff, we've gotten him into a little bit of cooking, a little bit more cleaning, and over the weekend, we started him on laundry. So I got him to throw the whole load in there, got the little pod, threw it in there, closed it, pressed the right buttons, and he was all excited. And we ended up doing about 4 loads that day. So at night, we're putting him to bed, and he's like, Daddy, can we do more? I want to beat my record. We did 4 loads of laundry today. I want to do 5 tomorrow. I said, well, I don't think we got that much, but it's a good thing that he's excited about doing more chores around the house. So that was a good thing. My next thing is the cat litters. We have 6 cats, 3 litters, and I've been cleaning them for years. That's his next thing to go. Anyway, back to our scripture, okay? I want you guys to understand that we are God's hands and feet, okay? Think about this passage of scripture here, okay? There was 5,000 men that were fed that day. That's what the scripture says, in addition to women and children. So it's likely that probably anywhere from 15 to 25,000 people were fed that day, including the men, the women, and the children. Now, living in America, we've all been to, I would think, sporting events, concerts, some type of gathering where there's this many people. I'm from Long Island, so I immediately think of the Nassau Coliseum, Shea Stadium, Yankee Stadium. Those were the things that I grew up with. So these places easily hold, that number of people. Now think about this. There was 12 disciples, and there was 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Do you think the disciples were carrying 15 to 25,000 loaves of bread and 15 to 25,000 fish? No. Okay? We all know Peter, right? So as Peter's breaking pieces off from 1 loaf of bread and he gets down to the last piece, what do you think happened? Scripture doesn't say, but I gotta believe somehow, some way, God created a new loaf in Peter's hand. And he continued handing it out, handing it out, handing it out, handing out. As that loaf disappeared, what happened? Maybe another loaf appeared, okay? Think about this. We are God's hands and feet, Okay? Is God in the miracle game? Absolutely. But even for miracles, we need to pray about them, right? We need to ask God for the miracles. Okay? So I want you guys to remember this, that we are being used by God. Okay? We are part of the miracles. So there's somebody in your sphere of influence today who's waiting for their miracle, and you are part of that miracle. Hope it's been a blessing. Have an awesome day. Take care.